Hey Aries, welcome to your August reading. I can't believe it's August already. So I'm doing some things a little bit different this month. I decided to change things up. So I'm doing kind of a three card layout, kind of with 6 cards. I'm going to do it this way. See how this works out for us. I'm hoping for a nice quick little reading for you guys, which will hopefully bring us into the depth of where we've been, the energy we're working with in August, and where that can take us, the potential outcome. So yeah, hopefully this will be really good for us, very constructive for August. So Aries, let's see. We start off with the Weaver. So this is kind of in like a past sense where we have been. It can be quite current. Let me see. I do feel like this is really your essence of everything you've done so far to get to where you are today. So the Weaver to me represents somebody who really kind of puts in the hard work to craft a future that they desire, or just to get what they want, really, to kind of create something that they are bringing into existence. Now for you, Aries, I really feel like this is quite a fundamental part of kind of what makes you an Aries, really. You're very much, as a sign, willing to do the hard work to get you to where you want to be. And it's kind of really, in a way, to many, looks effortless on your part, but really you are putting in the hard work, whether it come naturally to you or not. I feel like you really have crafted this life that you are still creating, but I feel like really you've done all the hard work up until now. This is kind of, in our past placement, so it's sort of saying you've done the hard work. You really have worked hard to get to where you are. Now the Weaver kind of represents weaving our destiny, creating our faith. I do feel that for you guys, you really are in a place now that what you have been aspiring to is kind of coming into fruition much more effortlessly than it has before, and it's because of what you've created previously. I do think that you know what you want, and you have been making sure you've been achieving that. It's all been about kind of actually getting those achievements, and I'm kind of seeing this sense of kind of, I'm going to say awards, because it's kind of like as though you had these achievements and goals that where you have completed that cycle and gone on to this next and completed that, and you're left with like the trophy. Now this trophy is an analogy, really. It might not be a physical thing. It could be, like a diploma. It could be that you ticked off that box, basically, at that section of your life. And you've got several of these already. And it's like you wear these as you're like, hey, look how far I've come. These are literal visual signs in your life that you have accomplished these things. And you have created that path. Now, if you are struggling, I would say look at that. Look at what you have done. So if you're in this phase now, I haven't moved on to the present. I'm literally saying for you, Aries, if you're in this sense where you're kind of like, I don't know where I'm going. I say this because this is a typical energy that a lot of us are working with right now. And that whole purpose of that is to get us organized, get us on the direction, on the path that we may have maneuvered from. Now, I don't get that sense for you specifically, but some of you may be struggling with that. And this is sort of saying, hey, look back at all you have achieved. I think you've always done it. Even in the times where you thought maybe you couldn't, you might have questioned that. This is saying, look at what you've done. Look how far you've come. Now we have 2 cards as well paired with these in the tarot. We have Justice and the Sun in reverse. So definitely have been putting in the hard work previously. And I do feel as though you know your worth, you know what it is. But I feel like you may have perhaps put the fun, not creative because I feel like you got creative, but the more freedom that you could have in your life, that has been put kind of on the back burner because maybe that was the inspiration as to what you were thriving for. I kind of get this way of being like, that if, in order for you to be free, for example, later in life, be able to enjoy the life the way that you want to. I'll use an example. Perhaps you wanted to go into retirement age, being able to travel and enjoy life. So you knew to be able to do that, you had to be successful. So you perhaps put enjoyment, taking fun risks for taking safe risks, doing what you had to do to secure that dream. So I do get this sense that in a past sense that you may have perhaps put fun, carefree side behind you. And it's not to say that you haven't had that. I mean, you're Aries. That's basically part of your essence, right? I just get this sense of you really carving the way to the life that you desire by not necessarily living in the moment. You've been living saying one day I will get to do this. Now, I feel as though with this Justice card, you are very judgmental of yourself, and that has been kind of something that's driven you, because you are always your harshest critic, the biggest judge of yourself. And again, this has prevented you from, again, naturally flowing in this. You have really worked on this. You have pushed for this. And this can apply to any areas of your life. It doesn't necessarily mean you are work to the bone kind of person. It can be, that you wanted a family. And so you have basically worked on relationships, put in the hard work to make something work. Perhaps even to the point where you chose a relationship that you knew would bring you a family, that someone maybe that you might not have that sparkle or butterflies, but for you that wasn't practical enough. You knew that butterflies don't last, so you perhaps realized that you had to endure a certain level of I kind of want to say like unexcitement maybe in a relationship, because you knew that they were loyal, they would provide and get you to where you are. I just feel like applying this to your life today it's just like that, like the fun, light-hearted, carefree side of things was just not important to you to this point. I hope that makes sense to you, Aries, and is resonating. Now, in the current energy, the August energy, what we're working with now, where we're at in this life cycle with this August energy. Now we have oath, promise, pledge, and contract. I do think that this is a time for you to be, again, making contracts. This card literally represents commitment. And committing to a goal would be something definitely beneficial to you. If you are moving, because I feel like this could be a thing, sign those contracts, get this next step rolling. I do feel like if you have been hesitating, I feel like I'm going to sneeze, sorry guys. Bless me. If you, I don't know, yeah, so if you have been literally coming to this stage where you're ready to sign contracts for work, for like marriage, it's all about doing that this month. It is a very good sign if that is what you have planned. For example, if you are getting married this month, it's a very good sign that this is you on the right track. This is the energy of you working with, is making commitments and standing by them. I do get this sense of loyalty. I do get this sense of a need to express your loyal side, actually, in order to make sure that the areas of your life where you are committing to. So let's use relationship, because that's an easy one for me to use as an example. For example, in relationships, this would say, show your partner that you're committed. What can you do to express that? Now, if you're getting married, obviously say I do. Sign those contracts and enjoy your marriage. Express your love and your happiness there. That's a very easy one to have. But if you're in a relationship and this is about making those next steps, if you are ready to commit in terms of proposing and things like that, that would be a good sign. But this to me is just, I feel a way of you expressing. That's what it's giving me. It's like you needing to express some form of commitment. Now, if this is in work, again, there may be contracts coming up and you needing to get that boost. I do feel like it is a time for promotions, a time for furthering whatever it is. And this is what I mean by loyalty and commitment on your part. I feel like it's time for you to take control. Again, you are the weaver here in this past, and I feel like this is what you have that is an energy to bring with you. That's what that beginning kind of column was. It's like, what have we got in our essence, which is our kind of our tool bag to use in this present energy. And it is, again, showing your loyalty, expressing. I do feel this sense of being less robotic. Now, with this oath card, again, it is a card that does represent marriage. And with that, I feel as though it's like sometimes we feel like to be committed and loyal, it means that we cannot enjoy our partners. It's weird, but people do this. You have to then act a certain way with your partner so that they think, you know what I mean? This is not coming through how I mean it, because I feel like you need to be yourself with the partner, which furthers this commitment in an authentic space. And again, in workspace, I would say this, it's about you expressing something. So it's about you being authentic in this for it to really, truly, actually be committing to what it is that you're desiring. And we are coming into this time now where if we want something, it actually demands us to be ourselves. It demands us to kind of put our essence into whatever it is. We no longer want those robotic kind of beings that we're literally living day to day, not really feeling emotion, not actually purposefully not feeling emotion, because if we do, we might start doing things naturally, and that might interfere with the rhythm of that kind of society that is much more robotic. And I do feel like the energies are literally making it so it's impossible for us to continue to live that way. And I think Aries, how you have lived previously, that's what's making this potential in my mind, where I feel the struggle for you guys. I feel like it's potentially that, because this is not something that is known to you, what worked for you previously, but it's what will work now. And that's what I feel is actually happening for you, is this breaking down of what you were, but using it. It is a key, it is essence of you. But there is more to this essence, and that's what you are revealing to the world, to your commitments, to your relationships. It does feel like a really nice, happy time, but again, there's just this underlining thing of it being different and you not really... And I want you to realize for yourself, like sometimes doing something uncomfortable in a positive way. For example, if you are not used to expressing your feelings to a loved one, that can kind of feel really weird and not natural, because it is more natural perhaps for you to suppress that, like, and just say, they know I love them. The thing is, like, nobody knows that they're loved. Not to the full degree, unless someone literally shows it or says it, in any kind of language. Sometimes language is literally by being present, by being there, but it's just showing them in your way that you love them, really can take relationships to next levels. I hope that makes sense of what I was saying. So this is paired with the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups, to me, every time I get this, it's kind of as though, again, evolutions of emotion a little bit. It is about taking risks. Now, Knights, to me, whenever I get Knights, I don't read tarot traditionally as such. It gets incorporated, but I'm very much, trusting the intuition and the science of how I read things. Anyway, Knights to me give me kind of like... this next phase kind of energy, as though you're ready to actually be brave. You're ready to take this next step. Now the Cups, it's all about emotions. It's all about feelings. It's about that kind of mental aspect of ourselves. So again, it's about taking risks of how you're feeling, express them, and trust that that's going to get you to this next level. So again, I want to apply this to our workspace, because I get that this is an all-rounder. This does not fully feel like this is all just one thing. This is literally everything. So I could apply this to love, relationships. This is literally your individual aspiration. So this Knight of Cups is saying to me, take risks in this. So again, with work, follow your heart instead of the mind is what I would say with this. Yeah, I feel like typically perhaps you followed the mind, and that's me saying that there's been a very logical way of doing things previously, which is good. It's helped you. But again, now the universe is saying we need more. We need some emotional connection. We need to make sure this is actually in alignment with the authenticity of you, because no longer will that past self be able to keep moving this forward. It needs something new added to the formula. And this is, again, something that may not feel natural to you, but it's adding the following your heart instead of just the mind. What feels right to you? Trust your intuition, and take risks. It might not even feel like a safe risk, but if it's something you feel like in your heart is the right direction for you, that is the right direction for you. So take those risks and make those commitments. Again, we have Oath and Knight of Cups. This is taking the risks and trust your heart. Again, follow your intuition. So finally, the potential outcomes. And sorry, I've got a really runny nose a little bit today, so it's itchy and sneezy. But we're going to get through this. Next we have the Fairy Norn. This is a really great one for you guys. It is a card that says patience. With patience and craftsmanship become great things, which means it's about taking your time to really build and create something from, again, an authentic space. Now, the Fairy Norn, she understands that by using the highest of quality things, I'll show you the imagery, you'll understand why I'm saying this. She's making a embroidery of a unicorn. Now, she knows that this unicorn creation, this embroidering, it takes time and patience. She knows that she needs to use the highest quality crafts, the highest quality yarn. I don't know what to use for embroidery. Sorry, I'm not embroidery creative. If she uses the best quality ingredients, the best things for this, it's going to last. It's going to be a masterpiece. And that's what she wants. She's envisioned this, and that's what she's creating before her. It's going to take time as well to get each intricate little detail. So what I'm saying is this card is saying take your time. Make sure you're putting quality into everything that you do. And I do feel like perhaps you have, but with this creating your fate, I feel as though, again, shortcuts may have been made previously. You kind of tried to reach this end goal, and then there's something new, and then reach an end goal on something new. I feel like you want something now that is, again, long lasting. It's quality. This is in relationships is standing out massively to me about this being long lasting for you and you putting in the work. Now, this means, again, you have to put work into that. It takes emotions to create something so beautiful. It cannot be mechanic, and it's shown really in anything that has been something that has stood the test of time. It's not always been mechanically done. It brings heart to it. It's like ballet. It's like, yeah, sure, you can be very technical, which it is a technical dance, but those who have that natural thing, that instinct, that creative emotion that they're able to express through dance, they're the ones that are remembered. They're the ones that make it big. And this is what I feel for you guys. Rennie, that's a bit noisy at the minute. What's up? You can come in a minute. So I've nearly finished this video. One more card on this one, okay? Okay. I've got my 3-year-old home. Now this is paired with, and it's quite interesting. So it's the Devil in reverse. This is actually a really good card. It kind of is breaking patterns and old habits. It is about really taking risks and releasing the old. Now this is the outcomes. This is saying by doing this, by committing, by expressing yourself, you are letting go of old patterns. And it's actually really good. It's like breaking of cycles. It's coming into the new, and it's not allowing others or anything to control you, because now again over here it's like you are lacking that freedom because you're always putting it in the future sense. You're always saying one day I will get it. Really, that's a bit loud. One day I'll get it. One day I'll be there. Or one day I can enjoy this. But first I need to put in the labor. This is saying this is it. You're releasing that kind of way of being, that way of thinking is best, and allowing yourself to flow more freely, be more creative, and kind of achieve your goals from really, it's like feeling it actually. So it's kind of as though I would say when you have accomplished these things, again, it's like, yes, you've got the trophy, you're like, yep, okay, but again, remember I was saying, like, you need to look back and realize that that's what you've done, because I feel as though it's like it wasn't enough, that it kind of wasn't fulfilling, so you moved on to this next thing. I feel as though you can be fulfilled in order, again, it's like you are really metamorphing or something, like being that caterpillar that's coming out as the butterfly. That's what I'm kind of envisioning in my mind right now. It's that coming out and now finally being able to fly and be in that sense, and that's where you want it to be. It's like coming into that space now that you've done it the hard way, and now you can reap the rewards of that. But again, it comes with you breaking, because sometimes when we do things one way for such a long time, we kind of program ourselves to feel like that's the only way, and that we cannot see any other way, any other ideas kind of create blockages. It creates blockages because we feel like there's only a one way of doing things. So when it doesn't work, we quit it and move on to something new. And I definitely feel this sense of you really having something long lasting now. And again, this can be relationships. They never maybe flourished into anything. And I really am getting that sense with us as we come forward. It kind of is resonating massively with relationships. And again, this can still apply in a workspace in terms of relationships with people, because perhaps we have found that by doing it ourselves in the past, we just got what we desired. And that's the same in relationships. Perhaps you always felt like, nobody was living up to the standard that you were wanting, that you were requiring. I do feel that now your standards are changing because you realize maybe you had an unrealistic standard, or maybe that your ideals of realizing that how you thought relationships had to be, it wasn't that was the only way. It wasn't that ideal wasn't working. You weren't really getting that quality, because again, sometimes, and I'll touch back on something I said in terms of relationships, sometimes we choose people or choose situations for practical reasons, and that is not necessarily long-standing, unless they also, I'll use the example of arranged marriages. So these often do really work, right? Sometimes they don't. But when they do work, the idea is because they come into this relationship, this marriage, as this is something that I have to do. This is practical. It's logical. This person is good for me for X, Y, Z. So often, these arranged marriages is because, he's a doctor. He can provide. She's very good homemaker. I'm just using very stereotypical things here to give you this idea of what I'm trying to say. So what they bring to the table is this perfect kind of environment, somebody who can take care of the home life and somebody who can take care of the work life. Now, these people, if that's all they bring to the table, they're two people that are just going to situationship and, never really truly find happiness. And you'll often find that they find happiness away from the home. Now, I do feel like everybody should have that aspect, but what I'm saying is what we truly want as individuals in terms of our relationships is that kind of dynamic where, yes, we can have this balance, but also they excite us because they bring something else to the table too. They are fun. They like to enjoy their life. They like to live life the same way that we do. Now, this looks different for everybody, but again, if then this doctor, he also likes to go traveling and he likes to enjoy that with his wife, show her the world. Now, she also likes to travel. She likes to go places. She likes to eat good food. That automatically, they have something connecting them that also builds that bond greater. Why would they need anybody else? Because this situation works. It then turns into love because, again, they share the same things. They do things together. Rooneybugs, just wait a second. I'm just on a kind of tandem here. Just wait a second. I'll review for you 1 second. Well, minute or so. Anyway, and then, then it creates love because they have bonded and they create something more. Now, this is a situationship. This is now a relationship. This is a romance. This is love. They have everything that they need. Right. Now, if that situation was different and it was logical, everything was provided, but they didn't like each other. They didn't get along. They didn't bring anything else to the table. So he would go traveling by himself, or drag her along, and she hated it. She would resent him, and the same thing, like he would resent that she couldn't just enjoy the life that he was offering. You see what I mean? It creates resentments, and I feel like that's perhaps where the ideology of before was getting at. And again, this could apply to all situations. I'm just using the romance because it's really coming through. Of realizing that one thing is not enough. We really do. I mean, for some people it is, but that's the whole point. Is realizing what your really core values are. And ensuring that you are actually leaving that open. If we are just wanting the practical, but actually it's not what we want, but that's how we see it working in, ticking the boxes. For example, I want a good lifestyle where they can provide everything for me and I can live a carefree life. It's like, okay, that's good. But again, I also want to feel appreciated. I also want, there's all these other boxes. Now you're creating a box, not a person, that, yes, so, sure, some people might fit in it, but then another area of their life, there's a leg sticking out because, hang on, people are not meant to be in boxes. You can meet somebody who has the ability to maybe one day work towards providing for you. But again, you need to support a partner who can help create that. He's just stolen a couple of my cards. It's a really pet hate. Don't let people touch my cards. So I hope this makes sense to you, Aries. But I'm really loving this. You're basically coming to a space of really breaking down really old patterns, old ways of thinking that really were standing in your way. And I feel like August is a really good month for you to really express taking those risks of expressing yourselves in these ways. So thank you so much for being here, Aries. I hope that makes sense for you. Please subscribe to my channel and I'll see you next month. Thank you guys.